Hey, Jeff here. I grew up in the heyday of Pixar movies, and I thought, those first few ones are critically acclaimed, but there's gotta be some people out there that just don't like them. So I went on to IMDb and checked out those user reviews, and I was not disappointed. So today we're gonna check out Toy Story, A Bug's Life, and Monsters, Inc. Some of these reviews will make you laugh, others will leave you scratching your head, but either way, make sure you leave a like if you like this video and subscribe for more, and check out my channel when you're done for other videos. So let's get into it. We're gonna start off with Toy Story. Released nearly 30 years ago on November 22nd of 1995, Toy Story came out to just raving reviews over the animation style and how different it was being a computer animated movie. Toy Story has that rare distinction of having a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 92% audience rating, so nearly 100% across the board, starring Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Don Rickles, and a late Jim Varney, as well as many more other famous actors, which was a good draw for the box office. Speaking of the box office, this movie had a $30 million budget and made $394 million in the initial box office run, so who knows how much it all is with the merchandising and all the sequels and stuff. It's billions of dollars by now. That's absolutely wild. So let's jump into those one-star reviews and see why people didn't like this movie. The first review is from Winner55 from June of 2007. The title of his review is The Cynical and the Dead. I found this amusing for about no minutes whatsoever. The movie has franchise written all over it. Are we ready for the dolls? The Burger King cups? Heck yes, obviously. Let's reduce all imagination to cheap commodities, sell our children on an open market, and let business ethics only apply. The story is so horrific, the dialogue cliche, the characters banal, the message simpering wimpy crap only suited for sadomasochists on a hangover, gaudy bit of CGI fluff pretending to be a children's classic, only in the dreams of the cynical and the dead. Well, this review was from 2007 and Toy Story 2 came out in 1999, so the world didn't end in 2000 with Y2K, so I'm a little confused to how Winter didn't realize this. Having a movie designed to sell stuff to kids is not a new thing started with Toy Story at all. It's probably started really with like Star Wars or even before that, where there's like a lot of merchandise tied into the movie or thought of even before the movie was produced, but I never thought about that with Toy Story. But man, having a Woody toy as a kid would have been really, really cool, or a Buzz Lightyear that could fly around. Well, not flying, but you know what I mean. You know what I was gonna say. Falling in style. Haha, I said it. The next review is from Sarah Arts, and her review is titled Horrible Message. This review is from 1999. I was well prepared to like this movie on the basis of the art alone, and the art did not disappoint. However, I found much of the humor to be based on cruelty, and I was truly horrified by the overall message of the film. Lower your expectations for yourself and everything will work out fine. It reminded me of The Breakfast Club, whose main theme seemed to be conform to the style of the popular kids and all your problems will dissipate. This is just so wrong. If you want to see really good computer animation that will amuse you, inspire your children to be good and strong and true, and which predates a shallow, uninspiring vehicle, check out the television series Reboot. This movie is only good for refreshing your mental catalog for toys you may have once owned. Boiling this movie down to lower your expectations for yourself and everything will work out fine is pretty funny, because like the movie's about like Buzz coming in and everyone liking Buzz better because he's a cool new toy and Andy likes him better and whatnot, and Woody gets jealous, so Woody tries to get rid of Buzz, and yeah, it's a whole story about them becoming friends at the end. You know what I mean? Spoiler there if you haven't seen it, but I didn't quite get what Sarah was talking about here, but hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. They're fun to read, so let's read another one. The next review is actually a 2-star review from Ken, and he said, good and groundbreaking. But why only 2 stars? This review is from July of 2002. Good and groundbreaking computer animation graphics movie that delivers, but did not reach a higher level due to the animation itself not having the warmth of the drawing style classic Disney animations. Still, the computer style here is very promising and quite impressive. Good story and script, a good solid start in a new trend trend in animation production. Very good voice acting, only for fans of kids' movies. Ken was for sure right about something here. It did start a trend of computer animated movies for sure over hand-drawn movies. It was quicker, faster for studios once computers got quicker over time. They could make more movies quicker, and these movies started doing really, really well, and people are making them all over the place. There's some really bad ones out there too, so Ken was on to something there. I just don't get why this is a 2-star review. He seemed to like it. This feels like more like a 5-star review, but hey, 2002 was a different time. The next review is a more recent review from Tan Ballare from January 7th of 2020. Nothing could stand up to adult appreciation. No matter where I looked, very high score, but I'm disappointed. Probably the parents were impressed when they saw the children being very happy. Basic, no script. I don't know if the hero wants to help him personally or all his friends. Since there is a halfway point, the hero looks like a frivolous character. However, there is no hint he will later wake up to friendship or responsibility. I don't know what to expect, and I don't know where to be involved. I couldn't understand why he's so happy that the boy likes him. I stopped on the way because it was boring. What I personally liked about this review is that there was 132 people found it helpful. What's helpful about that review? Yeah, basic, no script. I mean, you could say that about any movie, even a movie that people love. Basic, no script. There's no real good description of anything. Yeah, it's kind of a strange kids movie in a way if you think of it, but I mean, it makes sense to me. I could describe what goes on to somebody, but alright, let's move on to the next movie. The next movie released by Pixar and the next movie on this video is A Bug's Life, released on November 25th of 1998, nearly 3 years after Toy Story. Holding a critic rating of 92% on Rotten Tomatoes and an audience rating of 73%, not loved quite as much as Toy Story, but people still love this movie. With a budget ranging from 40 to 120 million and a box office take of 363.3 million, you could say that there's money in bugs. Starring Dave Foley, Kevin Spacey, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, a young Ashley Tisdale, and Hayden Panettiere, and many, many more people, this movie had a cast that was just filled to the brim with people. So with all of that in mind, let's read some 1-star reviews from people who just did not like this movie. We will get the A Bug's Life adventure started off with DJ. Even the kids get bored. The horror! The horror! The review is from July of 2000, so just a couple years after the movie came out. Loser Ant tries to save his friends from an oppressive grasshoppers by hiring a magnificent 7 of circus bugs that he thinks are warriors. The good guys are so stupid and pathetic that you want the grasshoppers to win. Their scenes are the only ones worth watching. Just one of many Magnificent 7 remakes/spoofs this year. The Three Amigos did it better in 1986 as far as spoofs go. Just another Disney don't stink movie, which everyone without an opinion of their own liked. But that's just my opinion. This is one of the first reviews of this video that actually kind of talks about the plot, and he isn't too wrong that it is kind of like a Magnificent 7 spoof, but yeah, I don't root for the grasshoppers at all. When I was a kid, man, those grasshoppers terrified me, and Kevin Spacey as the main bad grasshopper is such a good voice for it, no matter his personal whatever. His voice for the main guy, he just feels so evil, which I mean, kind of fits Kevin Spacey in a way. Alright, let's see what the next review is. The next review is from EMC from August of 2020. Why do people like this? This film is prominently known for using 2 of the worst cliches known to man. The lie/misunderstanding via double entendres, and everyone hating the main character. At least Cars was fun to watch. Hell, Chicken Little was more tolerable as a kid. I cannot find myself to give this movie any more than 1 star because of how incredibly unpleasant and irritating this is. This may be the only film I hated as much as a kid as I do now. Even with Shark Tale, I just didn't care for it. This person does at least include why they don't like the movie, because it has a cliche of the line misunderstanding by double entendres and then everyone hating the main character, which I do not like movies either that everyone hates the main character, but A Bug's Life was fun to watch as a kid and as an adult, and I watched it again a few years ago, so I don't really know. I didn't actually like Shark Tale or Chicken Little when I was a kid, so me and this person probably wouldn't be friends. You know what? That's okay, because it's human nature. Next review is from Burley from 1999. A bad movie that looks great. I went to see this movie with my 4-year-old nephew and he of course loved it. For adults, however, this must be one of the most excruciating movie experiences ever. While the filmmakers have lavished their talents on the animation, no one seems to have felt the need to give us an actual story. Flick must be one of the most virtuously boring film heroes ever. The moral of the film appears to be that we should value eccentric and imaginative people instead of ostracizing them. This is all fine and dandy, except in such a tentatious presentation. We go to the movies for a story, not a sermon. Burley does make some good points, but he should have ended the review after the first sentence, where he saw the movie with his 4-year-old nephew and the nephew loved it. I mean, it was a movie for kids, right? I don't remember this movie being so preachy about valuing eccentric and odd people. I just thought it was a fun take on like a story with animation with bugs and different bugs taking on different characters and stuff, and there's being a circus with bugs. Like, none of this is real. Does he know that? I don't know. But let's keep reading on the reviews. Next we have Barth from September of 2006. Fear, bullies, aggression, ugly stereotypes. A toxic brew for kids. This is one of the worst films for kids I have ever seen with my 4-year-old son. It is built around fear, bullies, aggression, and ugly stereotypes. This film is a bonanza for therapists and sociologists, and it goes a long way towards explaining some of the pathologies of this society. How about a movie that lets kids be kids instead of this onslaught of cheap sentiments and terror? The calculated story uses every trick to scare kids. The limited imagination of the story writers is particularly insulting. Is everything just about good and evil and the fight for survival for young kids? In many ways, the film is a throwback to Cold War films such as Red Dawn, in which school kids fought a Russian invasion. No kidding! Is A Bug's Life how we're supposed to prepare our kids for the war on terrorism? In sum, this film is a toxic brew. Kids deserve better. Now, just a friendly reminder, this review is from 2006, so we were in the Iraqi invasion at that point, but it is kind of funny how this is like a review that sounds like someone like nowadays reviewing a movie and being like, this movie is just propaganda trying to get our kids prepared for World War III. Like, it really sounds like one and the same, but yeah, I don't remember this movie being like a Red Dawn clone at all or anything close to that. I mean, there were bullies and aggression in it. I mean, the grasshopper scared me as a kid, but a little wacky. What do you guys think? Next movie up is Monsters, Inc., released on November 2nd of 2001, nearly 3 years after A Bug's Life. But in between those two movies, Toy Story 2 came out, but I'm not doing sequels in this movie. This one's all about the originals. Holding a critic rating of 96% and an audience rating of 90%, you could say people were definitely not scared away from seeing this one. With a budget of $115 million and a box office take of $579.7 million, you could say that Mike and Sully were very popular around the Pixar office. That's a big profit. Starring John Goodman, Billy Crystal, Steve Buscemi, Jennifer Tilly, and many more people, this cast was filled to the brim again with good people. With all of that in mind, let's go read some 1-star reviews of some people who just did not like this movie. We'll start off Monsters, Inc. with Ed from November of 2019. Worst animated movie ever? I mean, this is a disaster of epic proportions, boring and lame adventure type story. All the jokes made for literal babies. The jokes are noises, dumb faces, and physical comedy like falling down or getting punched. The voice actors casting is criminal. Absolutely disgusting. This movie couldn't be worse even if they would have tried. I feel like you could be like the grumpiest person in the world. Like, you go to like a whole nice garden and you don't like the flowers because they're too beautiful. You don't like fall because the leaves are too beautiful. Like, you're just like a grumpy person. Like, a nice blue sky makes you angry because like you like the gray. And I feel like even if you're a person like that, you probably could give Monsters, Inc. better than a 1-star and not calling it like the worst ever. There is a lot of physical comedy in it, but that's kind of the point. They're monsters. You can do whatever you want with monsters, but I think this person just took it a little too seriously. Let's see what other people had to say. Next up is Night of the Dawn of the Day of the Dead from December of 2002, and they had to say, mindless trash for the no attention span masses. Did anyone actually watch this? The basic pattern of this movie is roughly 45 seconds of dialogue, and then a lot of screaming and loud sound effects. The perfect movie for those of us without any sort of attention span. Laugh at the wacky monster screaming and hitting things and getting bonked on the head. Don't don't worry, it's going to happen again soon. So be patient during those 3 seconds of characters talking. Your mindless garbage is going to repeat itself real soon. This movie has some neat graphics, big deal. Graphics mean nothing without anything to back them up. Skip this and give your child a copy of The Hobbit, the book. Yes, those things with words printed on paper instead. It's a good story that isn't dumbed down so much. Give your kids something that's worth their time, not this flashy loud tripe with no real substance. I'm a little worried that they didn't watch the movie. I mean, the whole premise of the movie is they work for a company that goes and scares people to collect their screams. So there's a lot of like falling down and yelling, and then he's trying to learn how to be scary. And it's just, I mean, it's a kid's movie, right? And there's more to it than just falling over and yelling and screaming. I mean, there's a chase scene. There's like going through different dimensions. There's a Yeti. There's all sorts of fun stuff. There's like talking about yellow snow, you know, oh no, maybe it is kind of mindless. Let's keep reading. Next up is Ed from June of 2024, so really recent. Disturbing so many adults like this thing. This is a disaster of epic proportions. The movie seems to be created to destroy brain cells by the minute. The jokes are made for literal babies and consist of loud and annoying noises, stupid faces from the characters, and idiotic and constant physical comedy like falling down like a clown. The nail in the coffin is the voice actors that were cast. Every single voice is disgusting, annoying, and unfunny. There is not one charming character. What surprises me the most is the amount of adults that like it, when it is only comparable to the Teletubbies, Peppa Pig, and things like that. Things that aren't even created for even 7-year-olds. Now, I think Ed is being a little too harsh about this kid's movie. I think some of the voice acting was really good. Like, John Goodman as Sully was awesome. And then you have Steve Buscemi as Randall, like the bad guy. I loved that so much. I think the voice acting was pretty good. Can I help you? Like the lady at the front desk, she was pretty good. I don't know. I thought it wasn't too bad, but what do I know? I'm just a guy. I'm just Jeff. Let's see what other people had to say. Next up is Jimbo. This review is from November 4th of 2001, 2 days after the movie was released. Cute, but lax. If there would be one word to describe this movie, it would be cute. This cuteness is the only thing that this film has going for it. It generally lacks any humor, minus a bit in the beginning. Overall, it was a disappoint. But if cute is your thing, then watch it. But at the end of this film, the cuteness made my stomach a bit uneasy. I like how before they were all disgusting characters, not one redeeming one. And this one, it's very cute, but besides that, it's terrible. So what is it, Jimbo? But yeah, I like how the uneasiness at the end, that's a bit dramatic, isn't it, Jimbo? The next review is from Jessica from March 16th of 2002. A children's movie. I saw this as squarely a children's movie, basically for anyone under the age of 12. The characters are more annoying than anything. I couldn't stand most of it, and the plot was pretty dry. The animation was alright, but so overdone. For family entertainment, I would recommend something a little funnier and with more of a plot, like Jimmy Neutron. So I was in elementary school when Monsters, Inc. came out, and I remember all of my friends and stuff just loving it. We had the DVD too, we'd watch it all the time, so I loved this movie growing up. So it was a children's movie, and I have not watched it as an adult, like not too recently. I like actually sat down and watched it. I'm sure it holds up, but I have watched the Jimmy Neutron movie as an adult, and I love that movie. I'm pretty biased that way, but hey, what can I say? At least I know I'm biased, I can say it, but not Jessica. But hey, this was around the same time the movie came out, so it was still pretty new into the whole big animation studio. I like how the animation was overdone. Like, what does that mean? Like, how can you overdo animation in an animation movie? But whatever. Thank you, Jessica, for your review. And with that, you made it to the end of one of my videos, so make sure you hit that like button if you have not yet, and subscribe, or else I'll disappear into the void for you, and you'll never see me again, and neither will my mom, and she'll be very, very sad. And also, make sure you comment down below any suggestions you have for me, and I'll make sure I try to tackle them in one of my videos, and check out any other videos on my channel. Until next time, I've been Jeff, and I think you're the coolest, because if you weren't cool, then you wouldn't be watching me, right? Alright, see you guys. Goodbye. Goodbye.